Driving down the road, listening to my good buddy Dave Mustaine's classic, Holy Wars. And I was just thinking about the state of this country 5 days after the election of Donald Trump. He's not in office yet, but already they're running every dirty trick in the book they can against him. And I just was thinking to myself, does the public want to be conned? Because we barely put Donald Trump in the White House. He had an electoral landslide, but Hillary Clinton got 500,000 votes more in the popular vote. Of course, I had Bev Harris on, the top election fraud expert, a Democrat, a liberal, a lady who exposed bipartisan fraud across the board. She just covers the facts, and she agreed with what I had seen, the facts I'd gone over, and she had like 100 times more data than I did. It was crazier than I'd even seen. That states where Hillary was neck and neck with Trump in internal polls, she basically had landslides, and it'd be 9, 10 at night when all the precincts had already reported. Suddenly you'd see Hillary winning almost every person. We're talking like 98% in precincts. That's impossible. And that happened in 5 states. You add that together, Trump had a huge multi-million voter win. I mean, look how he brought in record numbers of voters than any Democrat or Republican in history. So the truth is, Trump's a big tent guy, but they're trying to shut that down, say it's all racist, so that Americans who don't have to be white can't feel like this victory, even though record numbers of blacks and Hispanics voted for Trump. It's more rewriting of history. And look, I know we got the majority of folks to wake up and see through it, but I really want to reach these people that are being brainwashed. Man, they have been caught putting out fake headlines against Trump, things he never said, and they'll even admit in the fine print of an article, this isn't true, it's satire. But they don't write it like obvious satire. They write it like it's serious, and then many pages in, they say it's actually satire, knowing most people just read the headline. It's really bad news. Like I said, I saw a headline this morning that said, Donald Trump thinks Republicans are dumb, hates them. And it was like a real newspaper headline. Then later you read, this is fake. So, as Americans and as just humans, we have to see through this crap and be aware that we've got a beachhead, as I've said many times, into human liberty and trying to get our country back. And all of us are imperfect. None of us are perfect. But the globalists are out to get us. Donald Trump isn't. He's a nationalist. He's a guy that wants prosperity. He loves the American system, and that's why they hate his guts. I went into the office today on Saturday, even though I never take off any time, and I've worked probably over 100 hours this week already, conservatively, because wild horses couldn't drag me away on the last day of this historic week because I see all the counter strikes they're doing, the things they're engaged in, and I just had to respond to it. Because everything I've done in my life, I've seen build towards a point and then just barely succeed. With all my effort behind it, everything I could do, my entire will, then I win. And I almost always win. In fact, I can't think of times I haven't won. But it's always because I put the maximum effort in, and it's always barely. Oh, Trump won by a landslide, but he barely won because his tsunami was so big, it barely crested over the wall of fraud in the 5 states they stole. And so I just want to point out, we're going to do a produced video tomorrow where I show Bev Harris interview and all the numbers and the states and the facts, but we just ran out of time today. The crew had already been up there for 6 hours on Saturday and needed to go home to their families, so I went ahead and pulled the plug and I'm driving home. But we're going to show how she stole at least 5 states and how Donald Trump really did win the popular vote, not just the Electoral College, because they're trying to use that out there, saying she won by 500,000 votes to say it's all, discredited and doesn't matter. We have the Electoral College so that a group of bigger states can't basically band together and enslave a group of smaller states. And the Electoral College came through again against this tsunami of fraud. Because we had more than half the Americans voted, 60%, huge turnout. Well, 60% of 330 million, it's big. And then she won by 500,000. It is a razor's edge. They had 20 million illegals voting and illegals admittedly voting. The Democrats saying let them vote and Obama saying let them vote. I mean, it telling them to vote. It's this crazy over-the-top garbage. But they wouldn't have gotten that desperate if they didn't know in internal polls in battleground states he was 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 points ahead, depending on the state. I mean, he was ahead in every battleground. We have internal polls. I talked to major polling agencies. I talked to the pollsters. I talked to little birds inside the Trump campaign. But they didn't want internal polling to show they were winning by a big margin because they knew fraud was coming. But Trump would still get off script and say, it's rigged, folks, it's rigged. We should be winning by big margins. That's because he knew. I don't know who was right in the campaign, but I can't help it. I just have to tell people the absolute truth. And Trump was ahead in non-battleground states by 20 points. He was ahead in the battlegrounds, again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 or more points. He was even ahead in some of the blue states. And I knew all this, and I went and checked with other pollsters. They said, yeah, how do you know that? What we saw happen this time was the Republicans and Democrats, for the first time ever, colluded, trying to steal the nomination from Sanders and Trump. They colluded on fake polls. And it blew up in their face. The globalists are building a worldwide economy where they control you. They don't want a wildcat, open free economy where you can create your own new companies, your own new systems. That's why they're shutting down the Trump phenomena. This should be my last transmission of the day, this voice memo. It's just, I know I'm right. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative. I'm a futurist. I'm a patriot. I'm somebody that wants prosperity and freedom. I'm a super bleeding heart, ultra liberal. But in modern times, liberal means you're a warmongering, fear-mongering, corrupt demon. And then those people are all allied with the establishment Republicans who are just as bad or worse in some cases. And I just look at all these dumbed-down, zombie-like people who are just totally filled with esoteric BS. They don't have any real facts. They're just bought into the system and arrogant because they think they're part of it. And I realize that's what chumps do. They buy into the false paradigm. They delusionally buy into the fact they're winners because they buy a $2 ticket in a Powerball deal, even though there's no chance they're going to win, and just feel like they're part of the establishment. I don't do that. I want to build a new world. I want to build something better. I don't want to be part of some control paradigm. I want a renaissance. And I just want to salute all of you that are in the fight against these tyrants, but I can just feel in my gut the fight's far from over. We've got a reprieve. We're barely alive. And prosperity produces so much largesse. The freedom that produces prosperity creates so many opportunities and great things that we just get a bunch of TV head, fast food eating, spoiled, rotten people that just don't like freedom and don't like the fact that some people are doing better than they are. And along come the crony capitalists, the insiders that are ready to run a huge scam, and they're more than happy to con the lottery ticket mentality folks that are delusional, the magical thinkers, into joining them. And, well, that's quite an evil combination. A bunch of lazy asses living high on the hog, bitching all day because they're not P. Diddy or whatever, allied with the George Soros, Nazi collaborator, weirdo scumbags who have evil will towards humanity. And that's quite a combination to beat, but humanity came through again. But if we don't fully mobilize and change the whole culture and show people who've been bought into this system how they've been conned, down the road we have no hope. But this is a big deal, and I salute you all. And I salute my crew who have busted their ass like nothing I've ever seen. And I want to just ask you all for your continued prayers and support and financial support, because the one thing I don't do is plug the fact that it takes money to run this operation. We've never compromised or sold out to the big sponsors because we're supported by you. So thank you. You're the heart and soul of the InfoWar. We're running free shipping through Sunday and 30 to 40% off on items across the board, from non-GMO seeds to high-quality water filtration systems to supplements to limited edition shirts about to be sold out. Red shirt says Trump is my president. Trump is my president. Infowars.com, legalize freedom on the back. So thank you all for your support. I appreciate you. And Lord willing, I'll be on the radio tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. Central with the Sunday edition.
In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139.
Driving down the road, listening to my good buddy Dave Mustaine's classic, Holy Wars. And I was just thinking about the state of this country 5 days after the election of Donald Trump. He's not in office yet, but already they're running every dirty trick in the book they can against him. And I just was thinking to myself, does the public want to be conned? Because we barely put Donald Trump in the White House. He had an electoral landslide, but Hillary Clinton got 500,000 votes more in the popular vote. Of course, I had Bev Harris on, the top election fraud expert, a Democrat, a liberal, a lady who exposed bipartisan fraud across the board. She just covers the facts, and she agreed with what I had seen, the facts I'd gone over, and she had like 100 times more data than I did. It was crazier than I'd even seen. That states where Hillary was neck and neck with Trump in internal polls, she basically had landslides, and it'd be 9, 10 at night when all the precincts had already reported. Suddenly you'd see Hillary winning almost every person. We're talking like 98% in precincts. That's impossible